Friends from media, good morning. Chief Executive will make a speech first, then Q&A. Friends from media, good morning. As you all know, on Thursday this week, together with my staff, I'm going to go to the community to hold the first round of community platform dialogue. I'm very happy to see that close to 20,000 residents expressed their willingness to participate in the community dialogue. We shall do a computered lottery drawing to confirm who to participate in the first round of community dialogue. I hope the first round of community dialogue could be conducted in a harmonious and peaceful as well as calm environment. I, together with my colleague, shall hold an attitude of ration and calm to seek a way out for Hong Kong. Somebody expressed their concern that whether this community dialogue would be successful. For me and my colleague, however difficult it might be, we shall continue to hold this community dialogue. And this platform will be a long-standing mechanism. Residents can express their willingness to participate. This is a way. Another way is to have random sampling and lottery to communicate on a specific topic. That's the second way. The third way has been conducted for some time already. That is the closed doors, small scope dialogue. I benefit a lot from these closed door, small scope dialogue. And they expressed their opinions, and I heard a lot. So whichever way it might be, I appreciate those who conduct dialogue with us in such a difficult times. They're still willing to communicate with government officials, and that's a way to show their concern for Hong Kong. And at this time, we're preparing the annual government report. Although in the past few weeks, we had many challenges, however, we have almost completed the 50 government work reports. I myself chaired 23 sessions of government reports. I've heard a lot of opinions. This year, there are several certain uncertainties. So I've revised this year's government reports. If there are some mature items, for example, the improvement of services to respond to the demands of the society, those items were announced in the annual government reports, but this year, these items were announced in advance of the government report sessions. So from this year, you might notice that different bureau or secretaries or department secretaries will be announcing their work reports, such as the renovation to old buildings and work done in the environmental protection area. So these mature items will be announced by the different departments, secretaries. Any questions from you?
即係社區對話嗰度咧，咁就即係而家有啲人都話覺得個規矩太多啦，咁有啲建制派議員都即係話可以放寬一下，甚至即係舉標語都冇問題嘅。咁其實會唔會考慮咧？同埋一啲前線嘅示威者其實都話要堅持5大訴求啦，咁甚至係杯葛嘅對話啦。咁其實對話會嗰個作用，你覺得又即係起唔起到出嚟咧？咁第二都係想問翻有啲建制派議員就話即係要提出要引用緊急法啦，又話要設立蒙面法啊，同埋辱警罪咁樣啦。咁你覺得即係政府喺目前即係點樣評估而家目前嘅情況係咪需要咁做咧？咁第三都係想問教育局啦，咁就叫學校就即係如常咁樣去舉辦一啲國慶升旗禮咁樣啦。但係有校長就埋怨就話，即係點解即係政府可以評估咗個風險之後取消國慶煙花咁，但係即係佢哋就唔可以自行去決定係咪升旗咧？咁可以點樣回應咧？唔該。
第一咧就正如我剛才講咧，呢個社區嘅對話咧係希望喺一個相對啦嚇，係一個和平理性冷靜嘅環境下邊進行。咁所以剛才你提到嘅規矩咧，都係為咗達至呢個唯一嘅目的嘅啫，並唔係話想控制一啲參加者佢當日表達啲乜嘢嘅意見。事實上喺講規矩嘅同時咧，特區政府亦都對呢啲社區嘅對話作出一啲承諾，就係我哋承諾咧係不分背景、不分嘅政治立場。
The special administrative government has committed that we shall listen to those who have different political standing and difficult backgrounds. They're free to express their opinions, even their anger. For the in-depth, closed-door meetings, I heard the anguish as well. So our rules are not to suppress people to express their freedom of speech. So for those who do not want to participate in the community dialogue, thinking these dialogue platforms don't have the conditions they require, I understand as well. And in the future, when we conduct a diversified community platforms, I hope more residents could come. Somebody said they don't want to come in person. Can the dialogue be conducted on the internet? We're considering this option. Maybe in the future there will be one more way to conduct our dialogues. The consensus in the society is to stop the riots, bring Hong Kong back to order. In the past weekend, our residents used to go to the tea house to have their breakfast. However, their normal lives are disturbed. The best solution is to use the rule of law. First of all, residents should abide the law, to respect the law. Any illegal behaviors shouldn't be participated by residents. And about law enforcement, the law enforcement organizations will enforce the law strictly. The prosecution department will abide law to do their work as well. And for those who are arrested, we have sufficient legal aid for them to receive equal legal sessions and to have equal and fair legal and court hearings. So if you ask me if there's anything that I can do legally, earlier on I mentioned that we shall make a good and proper use of the current law and to make evaluations to see if the leverage of this law can treat the current riot situation, or it might induce some reverse effects. The reputation, we don't want to see that Hong Kong's reputation will be badly affected further. So up until now, we have not adopted the special law that you've mentioned just now. Thirdly, about the Department of Education or the Bureau of Education to raise national flags. This is a normal practice. So if they're doing this in different schools as a normal practice, if this practice is suspended now, then that's not normal. So the opinion from the Bureau of the Education is that schools should continue to raise national flags as a normal practice. Chief Executive from Xinhua News Agency, 9 incidents of the ruining of national flags happened. The youngest people who were arrested is only 19 years old. So what measures will you do to prevent such incidents from happening? And secondly, you've mentioned that 20,000 residents have listed to participate in the community dialogue. What items will be communicated? First of all, during the last 3 months, many things happened in the society of Hong Kong. And the national flags were destroyed and denounced many times, and we couldn't accept that. That's the challenge of the 70. So the special administration government expressed our anguish upon such incidents. So we shall follow up with these incidents according to the law. And you've mentioned that in the past 3 months, we've arrested more than 1,500 persons, and some young people, they're less than 18 years old. This broke my heart. They're children. For the political issues, how much they understand that this is a question we must ask ourselves. So here I call upon our parents, our teachers, and our principals of schools to allow our children to understand that political issues are not that easy. They should abide the law. Hong Kong should be a society of rule of law. One important factor is that all residents should abide the law. They couldn't abuse the law due to some political reasons. About the Thursday's first round of community dialogue, I appreciate more than 20,000 residents have listed, hoping to attend the community dialogue. And this encourages us a lot. I don't think the first day's dialogue would achieve great result, because for the past 3 months, angers have been accelerated. There are many different opinions, so I hope that we can sit together to conduct equal dialogue, to try our best to find a way out for Hong Kong. Most importantly, I commit that this dialogue will not be a one-timer. We shall continue community dialogue, an online dialogue, and closed-door, in-depth conversations, and this will be a future. Would be an important work item for me in the future. About the conversation items for the first round of community dialogue, it's entirely open. Whatever items they want to bring out, we accept them. But for the longer run, we suggest that there will be specific topics selected for different sessions, such as housing issue or medical issue. And in the future, we shall communicate with media to see how will this mechanism be conducted further.
The police has denied accusation that they kicked a detainee on Saturday, saying the video filmed only showing officers kicking a yellow object. So how would you respond to such description? You have repeatedly stood firm on your support to the police force, but it is very obvious that the public has lost trust to the entire force. So how would you rebuild the trust without setting up of an COI to conduct the police use of force? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. As I have said earlier in response to a question, when we are so proud of the rule of law in Hong Kong, it does include various important components. And enforcement by the enforcement agencies, particularly police, is one of the very important elements to ensuring the rule of law in Hong Kong. Now, over more than 3 months of confrontations, street protests, and sometimes very blatant violence, I said previously that the force is under extreme pressure. Okay. So my support for the force is because it is an important law enforcement agency that helps us to safeguard the rule of law. But that doesn't mean that I would condone irregularities or wrong practices done by the police force. Otherwise, there would not have to be all these institutions like the CAPO and the IPCC to look into complaints about individual officers. And on this occasion, because of the severity of the protests and the incidents, the IPCC has taken the initiative with my full support to undertake a thematic fact-finding study to assess several important incidents and to come up with recommendations. But it would be very difficult for me as a chief executive to offer my own opinion on individual video footage or shots to determine what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is fake, because there has been so far always different versions to the same incident. So my advice and my appeal is for those affected individuals to come forward to provide a side of a story and to be undertaken in a fair and impartial manner. For example, if there is a complaint to IPCC or to CAPO, I understand that IPCC, in addition to their members of the council, they have about 100 observers who will be invited to join the interviews or these occasions to look at videos in order to form a more impartial view of what has taken place. We have to put our trust in these important institutions which have kept Hong Kong going for so many years. I know the level of mutual trust is now relatively low in Hong Kong, but we have to make sure that we can continue to operate as a civil society. And so these institutions will continue to play a very important part in that particular respect. Thank you. Yeah.
Last question. English question? Please.
Good morning, Mrs. Lam. I'm working from CNA. Can I ask what yardstick or criteria will you use to gauge the success of your first dialogue, whether it's on track with your objectives? My second question is, now that you're going to be out and about meeting people, do you find it necessary to increase security arrangements so that you nor the venue may be targeted? And my third question is, again, a police question. Despite the escalating violence that took place last weekend, the police still said that they're very restrained. Can I ask, at which point do you think you will ask the police to increase their enforcement actions? And may I also ask whether you agree that their current restraint approach is still effective? Thank you.
I would say that if on Thursday evening we could have a 2-hour session to engage with 150 members of the public who spend the 2 hours with us, exchanging views and communicating ideas in a candid, frank manner, that would be regarded as a successful dialogue. Okay. It would not be possible for a consensus to be reached after all these tensions in society that we have seen. So to me, this is one step forward. It will be a long journey to achieve reconciliation in society, let alone to return to the more normal Hong Kong that we are all very familiar with. So that would be what my expectation is, and I will work very hard to achieve that. About security arrangements, I don't know whether you were referring to one of my colleagues on Sunday, sort of being intimidated and so on. I would say that when we say we want to reach out to the public, we should not put our own personal security at a very high level, but we have to make sure that everything is done in a relatively peaceful and orderly manner. So if our reaching out is a source of major tension, then we have to think twice whether we should do that. So here I want to sort of tell the media that I heard media sort of complaints that some of the events attended by principal officials were not announced. And so you did not have a chance to cover them live. But this was exactly because of the worries, sometimes not ourselves, but the organizers, that whether the venue that these events are going to take place will be attacked and so on. So I appeal to you for your understanding. I would very much like to return to the normal situations in which every time I go out, there will be media and we could greet you and talk to you maybe on the topical events of the day. Now, the police has been undergoing a very difficult period, as I hope some of you will realize. This is a very long, drawn-out process and filled with uncertainty and unpredictability. So sometimes you don't know when and where certain things will happen. The general comment is, of course, apart from some critical incidents where members of the public have major concerns and some different views, the fact that after over 3 months, we have not seen major fatalities in Hong Kong is, by world standard, because I've been meeting overseas dignitaries and senior officials, is quite remarkable. You asked me when that sort of restraint will disappear. I really can't tell you because it is really on the ground. It is not for me sort of quite far away from the commander to be able to judge, let alone to tell them what to do. We have to trust the force and the commanders in dealing with such difficult situations. 多謝晒各位。
Thank you all.
我哋好似已經出咗一啲。
Are you talking about Hong Kong?
當然一個咁重要慶祝70週年國慶嘅。
We have already released some media announcements. Members of the public who will celebrate the 70th anniversary. Our principle is solemnness and safety. So the activity will conduct in such environment. Thank you.